So when we study character, we study not only types of characters, but we study the way that a writer will reveal character traits to the reader. According to Daniel and Saphir, characterization is the methods used to represent the personality of a character in a work of literature. So the way that a writer lets us know what kind of character he or she has written is called characterization. And writers usually reveal character traits to the reader using a combination of 5 main methods. And the first method is probably the most simple, and that's just basically the author or the narrator in the story directly telling us what kind of character a character is, what kind of person a character is. So, for example, when the narrator explicitly sings, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," this is direct characterization, right? Um, the narrator is explicitly giving us insight into the Grinch's character. So we usually call that direct characterization. The other types or methods we will call indirect characterization because they're different than the author simply commenting, "This is a mean character," or "This character is very loving," or "This character is a good father." They're not direct comments, so we call those indirect characterization. And the first one we're going to talk about is the character's appearance or physical description. Sometimes a character's appearance or physical description can reveal something about his or her personality. Roberts and Jacobs state that appearance and environments reveal much about a character's social and economic status, of course, but they also tell us more about character traits. According to Pickering and Hopper, in real life, appearances are often deceiving, right? Someone may look a certain way, but then they might turn out to be completely different. And that happens in fiction, too. But in the world of fiction, details of appearance, what a character wears, and how he looks, often provide essential clues to character. I don't know if you all have watched the show The Good Place. It's a pretty funny show. But in the show, there's a character named Chidi. And in contrast to the other characters in the show, the other main characters, Eleanor, Tahani, and Jason, Chidi is kind of a nerd. And I have a picture of him there for you to see. He looks like a nerd, right? So as soon as he comes onto the screen, we sort of know a little bit about his character. He was wearing a sweater vest, right? He's a college professor who is intellectual and philosophical. He's sort of wearing a sweater vest. He's wearing glasses, right? So these are the kinds of the way we expect that someone who is a professor or someone who is intellectual or someone who is kind of nerdy to look, right? So that gives us some insight into Chidi's character, the way he is dressed. Authors can use names to suggest character traits. For example, Pickering and Hopper state that some characters are given names that suggest their dominant or controlling traits. Other characters are given names that reinforce or sometimes are in contrast to their physical appearance. Names can also contain literary or historical references that aid in characterization by means of association. They warn, however, that one must also be alert to names used ironically, which characterize through inversion. So let's think about the name of Peter Pan. So the name Pan connects the character of Peter Pan to the Greek god Pan. Pan was a deity of the wilds. Part goat, part human in appearance, he spent his days playing his pipe, frolicking with nymphs, and generally having a jolly time. However, he was also known to terrorize those traveling through his wooded home. In fact, the word panic comes from his name. By naming Peter Pan, J.M. Barrie is aligning his character with both sides of the god's nature. Peter is a jolly, frolicking character. However, he is also somewhat sinister. He doesn't want people to grow up, and that's a dangerous notion. Another way that writers reveal character to the reader is statements made by other characters. Remember Belle? In the opening song of Beauty and the Beast, we learn a great deal about her because all of the villagers gossip about her as she goes about her day in the village, right? Roberts and Jacobs contend that by studying what characters say about each other, the reader may enhance his or her understanding of the character being discussed. They remind us that, ironically, speeches often indicate something other than what the speakers intend, perhaps because of prejudice, stupidity, or foolishness. And finally, what characters say, think, and do themselves can also reveal character traits. For example, in Eudora Welty's story A Worn Path, the character Phoenix Jackson repeatedly walks a great distance into town from her home in rural Mississippi to obtain medicine for her grandson, despite being elderly and needing to use a cane. This shows us how much love she has for her grandson and that she faces her responsibilities no matter how difficult. Pickering and Hopper suggest a character's actions, words, and thoughts are the most important method of revealing his or her personality. Readers should remember to always compare a character's actions and speech to his or her thoughts. If they do not match up, a reader can gain much insight into a character's personality. Authors usually choose to reveal the personality of their characters through names, appearance, speech, thought, or action, and what other characters say, rather than through direct comment. The reader then has the pleasure of drawing his or her own conclusions about the kinds of people they are.